This is the story of a startup with just $5,000 left. The founder grabbed that cash, flew straight to Las Vegas, and put it all on the line at the blackjack table. That one desperate move not only saved a company on the brink of bankruptcy, it became the seed for a $90 billion global empire you know today as FedEx. Welcome to the incredible FedEx turnaround story, a tale of a C-grade college paper that sparked an overnight delivery revolution. If you're someone who loves a good underdog story, buckle up. Because in the next few minutes, we're diving deep into how Frederick W. Smith's big gamble, not just the Vegas kind, built one of the world's most influential logistics giants. Let's rewind and see how it all went down. Our story actually begins in 1965 at Yale University. Frederick W. Smith, just a college undergrad, wrote a term paper proposing a revolutionary concept: a dedicated air cargo network that could deliver packages overnight by funneling everything through a central hub. It was an idea born out of sheer frustration at how slow and clunky traditional freight services were. Legend has it, the professor gave the paper a C, calling it impractical. But Smith didn't toss the idea away. Instead, he would spend the next 6 years refining it into something unstoppable. By 1971, Smith had raised his $4 million inheritance and a staggering $91 million in venture capital, a fortune back then. With that money, he founded Federal Express in Little Rock, Arkansas. The plan? Use a hub-and-spoke model to fly all packages to one centralized hub, sort them overnight, and dispatch them out by morning. It was bold, but it was also incredibly expensive. At launch, they had 14 Falcon 20 jets and served 25 cities. Yet the first night, they only shipped a measly 186 packages, nowhere near enough to cover costs. Things went from bad to desperate. The 1973 oil crisis was a gut punch, bleeding FedEx dry over $1 million a month. Bankruptcy wasn't just a threat, it felt inevitable. Under pressure, Smith hustled for more funding, but investors were unwilling to commit. It seemed like the entire dream might collapse before it ever truly got off the ground. And that's when Fred Smith did the only thing he could do to give his dream one more breath. The one decision that no sane founder would have made. FedEx was dead broke, $5,000 left, bills unpaid, fuel suppliers at the door. That's when Smith did the unthinkable. He went to Vegas. He figured, what have I got to lose? It was a Hail Mary, a last-ditch prayer. He put it all on blackjack. It sounds reckless, and to be fair, it absolutely was. But somehow, luck was on his side. He walked away with $27,000, enough for one more week. A single week, that's all the runway it bought them. Not exactly a rescue plan, but it was just enough time for Smith to rally potential investors once again. That gamble wasn't a bailout. It was a spark. It gave Smith the breathing room to make one last, desperate pitch to investors. Shortly after, Smith managed to lock down crucial financing from backers who saw a glimmer of hope in the company's determination. Suddenly, FedEx wasn't just limping along. It had the cash to refine its operations, upgrade its aircraft, and double down on the overnight delivery model. That desperate shot in the dark became the turning point. The fledgling business that everyone said was doomed was about to take flight, literally. But this was not the end. It was just a new start. A long and difficult one. With fresh capital in the bank, FedEx was no longer clinging to life. It was poised to change the rules of the shipping game. One big reason? The Airline Deregulation Act of 1977. Almost overnight, that policy lifted the roadblocks on routes and pricing, letting FedEx expand its fleet and reach cities at record speed. Suddenly, they had freedom. Bigger planes. More cities. A fine-tuned hub-and-spoke model. It was Smith's Yale dream, finally unleashed. Meanwhile, the business world was waking up to the power of overnight shipping. Companies that once relied on slower freight methods realized that speed could be a massive competitive edge. They didn't just promise fast delivery, they coined a phrase, when it absolutely positively has to be there overnight. That wasn't just a slogan, it was a guarantee that changed expectations. Behind the scenes, another crucial ingredient was technology. FedEx didn't just move packages, they mastered information. They built tracking systems years ahead of the competition. They knew the data about the package was as vital as the package itself. And then came the initial public offering in 1978. Going public brought in a wave of new funds and propelled FedEx onto the national stage as a serious force in cargo and delivery. By the 1980s, they were expanding internationally, acquiring smaller courier services, and building one of the most sophisticated cargo operations in the world. Within just a few years, that once flailing startup had transformed into a household name, recognized for speed, reliability, and a drive for continuous innovation. The world was changing, and FedEx was determined to lead the charge in fast, technology-driven shipping. But FedEx was far from done. The next test was a multi-front war, global expansion through acquisitions, a brutal competitive landscape against UPS and DHL, and the looming transformative wave of e-commerce. As FedEx soared through the late 70s and 80s, they set their sights on global dominance. FedEx didn't just want to conquer America, they set their sights on the world. They started snapping up couriers and cargo airlines, spreading their network across the globe. By the 1990s, FedEx wasn't just aiming to deliver overnight in the US, they wanted to be everywhere overnight. A series of strategic acquisitions supercharged that global push. Flying Tiger Line, 1988, expanded FedEx's international network. Caliber System, 1998, helped launch FedEx Ground, tapping into small package, cost-effective delivery. Kinko's, 2004, rebranded as FedEx Office, broadened their services into printing and office solutions, though this move later proved more challenging. TNT Express, 2016, pushed FedEx deeper into European markets, solidifying them as a major force worldwide. Then came the e-commerce revolution. The e-commerce boom was a rocket ship, and FedEx was strapped right to it. Every online order needed a shipper, and FedEx was perfectly positioned to deliver. As online shopping exploded in the 2000s, FedEx's expertise in fast, reliable shipping became indispensable to retailers everywhere. From Amazon to niche e-commerce sites, businesses needed next-day or two-day delivery to keep up with skyrocketing customer demands. And FedEx was ready with the infrastructure, aircraft, and technology to handle it. With dedicated services like FedEx Ground, FedEx Freight, and FedEx Office, the company had multiple touchpoints for both consumers and businesses. This versatility made them an essential partner for big-box retailers, startups, and everyone in between. It was a win-win. E-commerce needed FedEx, and FedEx thrived on e-commerce's relentless growth. By the mid-2010, FedEx was posting tens of billions in annual revenue, operating in over 220 countries, and employing hundreds of thousands of people globally. What began as a near-broke startup was now a cornerstone of the global economy, moving everything from business documents to life-saving medical supplies with speed and precision. Fast forward to the modern era, and FedEx finds itself in a new battleground. Unprecedented competition from rivals like UPS, DHL, and a formidable emerging player. Amazon isn't just a customer anymore, they're a direct competitor. They're building their own delivery empire, and that's a huge question mark for FedEx's future. On top of that, FedEx has navigated labor disputes and union pressures over the years. Labor disputes are a constant battle. FedEx relies on a massive workforce, and fights over wages and benefits are always simmering. Then there's the sustainability question. Shipping and air freight are massive contributors to carbon emissions. FedEx has pledged to be carbon neutral by 2040, investing in electric vehicles and renewable aviation fuels. Can they really do it without hurting their bottom line? And let's not forget global events. Health and political instability created massive ripple effects. FedEx had to adapt immediately to surging package volumes, constantly changing international rules, and urgent worker safety concerns. E-commerce boomed, but delivering those orders became incredibly complex. Yet FedEx's rapid scaling proved the resilience of its original hub-and-spoke model. With Frederick W. Smith stepping back from day-to-day leadership, the new generation of FedEx executives faces the big question: how do you sustain growth and innovation in an unstable landscape that's more crowded, more regulated, and more environmentally conscious than ever? From near bankruptcy and a desperate gamble to a global logistics empire, the FedEx story is legendary. But it's more than just a story. It's a masterclass in resilience and growth. Here are the key lessons any business can learn from FedEx's extraordinary journey. Persistence and vision. FedEx wouldn't exist without Frederick W. Smith's unshakable belief in overnight delivery, even when everyone told him it couldn't be done. That same grit kept him gambling, literally, until he secured funding. Sometimes you have to ignore the doubters and bet on yourself. If you're short on time but want to dive deeper into what grit really looks like, we made a quick video summary of grit by Angela Duckworth, so you can still learn, even on a busy schedule. The link's in the description. Innovation and timing. FedEx didn't just innovate, they innovated at the perfect time. They saw the future of shipping and seized the opportunity. Brand and focus. FedEx's slogan, "When it absolutely positively has to be there overnight," became an industry anthem. By focusing on speed and reliability, they built a brand that businesses and consumers still rely on today. They didn't just make a promise, they lived it. That consistency built trust and loyalty. Adapt and expand. From acquiring cargo airlines to embracing technology, FedEx never stopped redefining itself. FedEx didn't stand still. They constantly evolved. They embraced new technologies, tackled new challenges, and kept pushing forward. What started as a C-grade college paper became a $90 billion empire, proving that a daring idea, relentless drive, and a little luck can truly change the world. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into FedEx's iconic turnaround. If you found this story inspiring, remember to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who needs a boost of entrepreneurial motivation. What's your biggest takeaway from the FedEx journey? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, keep innovating, stay persistent, and never be afraid to take that big gamble on your vision.